Alright, boys, we got a service engine soon light on. So when I started the day, the car ran perfectly fine, everything was kosher. I got off work, and I had to go to work again. Immediately after coming to a red light, the car was shaking violently like it had a misfire, and I go, uh-oh. And then the service engine soon light popped on shortly after that, and I said, uh-oh again. Honda. Anyway, and then I was like, shit, double uh-oh. Like, we got an engine light. Uh-oh, I hope I don't go into limp mode. Please don't go into engine failsafe program or I'm dead in the water. I don't have my scanner. And, well, after I got on the highway a little bit, it stopped. I went ahead and went to work. And now I'm off again, heading home finally. And so we still got the light on, but it's running normally. We're gonna come, this is gonna be the first stop. I have to come to a stop at, and we'll see what happens here. It seems to be running smooth. Okay, so that was weird. It's kind of a weird fluke. But we'll go home and scan it. Katie's already got the scanner ready for me, so we'll see why we have an engine light. I'm assuming it's a misfire of some sort. So, I don't know, hopefully something simple like a coil pack, or maybe it's not even a big deal. Maybe it has something. We had a lot of water the last few days. I mean, like, it rained hard. So, I don't know, maybe we had a water intrusion issue. Maybe water got into the hood somewhere. I don't know, maybe there's just a bunch of moisture from the ground evaporating up under the... I don't know. Who knows? But we'll scan it and we'll see why we have this service engine soon light. Alright, we got one trouble code. What it is. Let's read it. Generic current secondary air injection system, insufficient flow. Really? Those are fucking stupid anyway. And then we have O2 sensor circuit high voltage, bank 2, sensor 1. So that would explain for the rough running then. O2 sensor being bad. Mess up the air fuel. So we're going to have to go underneath and investigate that further. Actually, this one could probably be maybe viewed from under the hood. I don't know. Alright, so secondary air injection system, insufficient flow. I wonder why. PO492. I know some of that hosing and piping was bad, and I never did replace it. I mentioned it in a previous video over a year ago, whenever I replaced all those gaskets. The other code's P0152, generic O2 sensor high circuit high voltage bank 2. So if I'd have known this beforehand, well, actually, you know what? Let's see what the O2 sensors are doing, shall we? Okay, boys, so we have sensor 2, bank 1. And for good measure, I went ahead and put sensor 2, bank 2. So what we want to look for, you can already see, it looks like the O2 sensor is in fact bad. Because it's not bouncing up and down quickly. It is slow to respond. Sensor 2 is probably okay. The 1.085, that should be bouncing up and down. And to confirm that, let's do bank 1 sensor 1 and bank 1 sensor 2 for contrast here. And now we have bank 1 sensor 1 and bank 1 sensor 2. Sensor 1's doing what it's supposed to be doing, rapidly moving up and down. Sensor 2 is more or less doing what it needs to do also. Just staying pretty consistent, letting us know that yes, the catalytic converters are working. So, okay, well, now we know. Bank 2 sensor 1 roached. Alright, let's order a new one of those and then fix it. Guess I'll be driving the Vic for the next few days. We'll just chalk this up to the list. It's funny how I just made that video of what we need to fix on the car, unless something else happens, and then something else happens. Alright, but it'll be good for the channel. We'll do O2 sensor replacement on the e38. Guess we'll do that at the same time we do the belts and inspect the pulleys, because why the hell not? So we'll snap over to that, which will be days for me and seconds for you. Okay, we got our oxygen sensor in. Looks like part number 13559, the Bosch oxygen sensor. It's OEM for BMW. We have our 22mm wrench, and I kind of taped up the inside of the box end with some electrical tape to kind of give it a little more grip. And then we're going to go under the car. I've actually been soaking that O2 sensor in penetrating oil for weeks, using my own recipe of 50% transmission fluid and 50% acetone. Well, it's starting to rain, but I should be able to button this up. So here she is, boys, up here. Bank 2 sensor 1, I think, is what this is. But with 22 mil on and my penetrating oil for weeks straight, I was able to get it without even having to bash its brains in really with the hammer. Just pull, and she comes right out. So we're gonna go ahead and work it off, then we'll put the new one in. Okay, managed to dart back inside right quick. So old one's out. I guess this was the easiest one I've ever gotten out. Now, looking at this, it doesn't even look like any of my penetrating oil really got into the threads. They look pretty dry. So that might not even made a hill of beans of difference. But in any case, it's out. So I don't know. Maybe it helped. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I could have got it on my own. But the 22mm with the tape for the win, and I did have my little 2-pound dead blow hammer. I just kind of tink, 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 hit it a little bit. And then I just said, you know what, there's not really a lot of room in here to get a lot of revers. We're just going to go full send. So I just grabbed it, and then pink just busted right loose. So BMW calls for, I think, 30 foot-pounds, or it might be 50 foot-pounds. It's one of those two. I just looked it up the other day. It was been a few days now. I was going to do it then, and I ended up not. That was the same day I did the pulley. So the day I did the pulleys, I actually did look up the torque specs for the O2 sensor. And then now I can't remember if it's either 30 or 50, but we're not going to torque spec it back on there. One, you can't get a torque wrench on it anyway. And two, in case I ever have to take it off again, we want it to be just as easy as before. So it already comes with anti-seize on it. So we're just going to kind of lightly thread it in, and when it's tight, it's tight. So let's go put the new one back in, and then the BMW will be officially drivable. This is the dead blow hammer I was talking about. It's got like sand in it. So when you hit it, it doesn't bounce off like a regular metal hammer. You're able to just boom, boom, boom. So I had the little dead blow hammer, that in on the O2 sensor, and then just tap, 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 tap. I wasn't hitting it that hard, just enough to kind of shock the threads of scotch. And then I didn't hit it off with a hammer. I just grabbed it with both hands, pulled, and then pink, it just broke loose. Easiest O2 sensor I've ever taken off in my life. So, you know, German efficiency for the win. Okay, so she's back in. We just need to plug it in. And so here's the technique. So you thread it in by hand as tight as it'll go. Okay, and then you get your 22 mil and you torque it tight. Very tight, as tight as you can get it, and then you back it off. And then you'll note the anti-seize will be doing its work. As I'm backing it up, it's like I can move it by hand. So I had to torque it down like almost a complete rotation. Really hard to do with the wrench. But then once it was done, I just backed it up a little, and then it just started unthreading itself real easily. So then I torqued it back down by hand again, threaded again as hard as I could. Once it stopped, then I backed it up a little, and then I threaded it down again by hand, and when it was in, as tight as it would go by hand, I gave it just like one little ugga. I mean, I grabbed the 22 mil, and I moved it like 1/16 of an inch. I barely moved it. So the reason for that is you don't want any exhaust leak, but you want to be able to get this thing off again next time. And this was the easiest one I've ever gotten off in my life, period. Hands down, So we want it to stay that way. Hopefully the one on the other side, if this guy ever goes bad, it'll come off just as easy. So when that day comes, we're gonna try yield penetrating fluid again and then just bust her loose. But I mean, this one came off so easy. So easy, we wanted it to stay that way. So here's the electrical connector up there. So I just gotta plug it in, and then we'll go inside and check and make sure with the scan tool that everything is running properly. Okay, so we're gonna check the voltage here once we start this beast. Now I've already got it up to operating temperature because I did run it a little bit ago. And then for some reason my video file corrupted and we don't get to see the end of it. But the bottom line is I did use a scan tool to monitor the voltage for the O2 sensor, Bank 2 sensor 1, the one I replaced, and it was fluctuating up and down rapidly, just like Bank 1 sensor 1 was doing earlier in the video. So the oxygen sensor replacement was a success. I did clear the codes and nothing came back on. There was nothing pending, so it looks like everything's good to go. And appreciate you watching. Catch you boys in the next video. Peace.